Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race.
Audio
I
Jungle.
sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. No need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way. It's a brand new day. Gotta take it on my way. Gotta take it on my way.
Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. My name is Kimberly McLemore, and I am your host. With us, we have La'Kel Farley, founder and owner of La'Kel Lyfe Intervention, LLC. Welcome, Laquelle.
Hi,
How are you
how are
this
you?
evening? I'm good. How
Um,
are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, good. I'm so happy that we finally get this opportunity to sit down and chat for a little bit and hearing about your business and your life story and telling us all these great things. So, if you'd like to get started, could you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I am La'Kel Farley. As you said, I am the owner of La'Kel Lyfe Interventions here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am also the author of I'm Grown Now What, that recently came out in 2017. I'm a motivation speaker. I was born and raised in Atlanta, and I am the mother of 7.
Wow. Awesome. That is great. So, sounds like you have a beautiful story here to tell us all. And we're going to backtrack a little bit now. You said that you are born and raised. You're from Atlanta. So, it's great that you're still in the community and you're actually providing a service for the community. So, that's pretty neat. So, tell me a little bit about how you got inspired to get in the business before we actually start talking about the businesses. Because there's a lot of different layers that I want to kind of touch into on your business. But tell me a little bit how you
Okay.
got inspired.
Well, I got inspired because of I was actually working with a bunch of people, and I was finding in the community that we needed help, in particular our young adults, ages 18 to 25, which is our Generation Y. And I was really motivated because I have a young adult myself that just graduated, but he had special needs. And that motivated me to do something about helping more of that generation in our community.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting that our youth generation seems to have a lot of programs that need to be had, but there's some out there, but they don't always seem to fit properly. So tell me a little bit about how your program is unique in some of the services that you provide.
Well, my program is unique because I deal with young adults, ages 18 and up, to deal with the first introductory steps into adulthood and financial literacy. So basically, you know how back in the day they used to teach us things such as how to cook, how to fill out an application, how to write a resume. Well, I found out as now when kids are in school, they don't have those type of resources. So I took the time to step back a moment and actually think about when we were coming out of school, probably the first couple of questions we had, okay, we graduated from high school, our parents was pushing, but what is after high school other than college and trying to get a job? We never knew like really how to step out into the world and to gain momentum and have a firm foundation. It was kind of like we went through trial and error as the process went along. So what I did was I wrote "I'm Grown Now What" book that goes step by step in helping you not only learning how to write a resume, ask the fact finding questions at a job interview, help you open a bank account, help you manage your bank account, help you budget. It helps you write an application for an apartment, or how to write an application to get a car. What are the facts that the banks are looking for when trying to obtain a car? So it goes into many details about life lessons as well as financial lessons of, how to keep yourself build and maintain.
I like that. And that is an awesome program because, like you said, when we were coming up, there was those simple steps that we did receive, but of course, it's obvious there's a lot of things that we didn't have coming up once you come right
Correct.
out of college. And then, too, of course, it always depends on your background and what your family's provided you. But you're right. Today, it amazes me how many young people don't have a clue what it means to file an application, still don't know what it means to have a bank account, and that how those items all connect when it comes to even from purchasing a car. And like I said, or either purchasing that apartment, they're just not prepared because they've never been informed. They don't know how important it is to keep your finances in order and to ensure that you do have money available. All those little things that we get up every day and kind of take for granted because we've learned them. And so you do sometimes expect, I think a lot of people expect the school systems to do that, but that's not even something that they do just as a given when we had that, like you said, growing up. So I think your program is phenomenal. And how long have you actually been doing this particular program?
I've actually been doing it for 2 years. I'm hoping to have this into the school systems by the 1st of 2018. We're working on that diligently right now as we speak. Trying to make sure that we have everything as an online class. Like I said, I'm really interested in stepping back and getting to the next generation because what I am finding is a lot of these kids come out and instead of getting an education or a firm foundation, they're falling back. But yet we as adults, or should I say other adults, are saying, look at our generation. Why are they so this, and what's the reason why they're so far behind? Why do they feel like they're entitlement? Well, my philosophy was instead of you just talking about what they're not doing, let's do something about it. So
Right.
basically the old saying used to be put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
That's the philosophy I have. Stop talking about what they're not doing. Let's talk about what we can do to help them.
Right. Well, and then, like I said earlier, that a lot of people are dependent on others to do it for them instead of sitting down and saying, this is what you need to do. Because that is our responsibility as children, for our children as parents, that we need to show them the way versus expecting somebody else to do it for them. But your thought process is absolutely right. Everybody's always has something to say versus saying, no, let's get up here and show them the right way to do it. And I think your program is going to be amazing to be able to have that online because even though it seems so simple, those simple things are what helps people survive every day because that's a fact of life. These are things you're going to be doing for the rest of your life, no matter how rich or poor you may think that you are. You have a responsibility, and if you're going to be living somewhere, you got to pay somebody. You need to know how you pay that rent. You need to know how you have to apply for that particular apartment. All those little baby steps that it takes to get to that goal that you're trying to reach. So congratulate you on your program. So talk to me, though, a little bit about your strategic conflict resolution services company. You have other pieces that come with your program there at La'Kel Lyfe Intervention.
Well, also what I also do is help people save their home. A lot of our community is losing their homes in drove, mainly because, of course, the middle class and the poor class were affected by the economy. And as you know, the economy is not somewhat getting better. It is beginning to turn back around to see another dose of recession. Well, what I do is a lot of time when people lose their homes and stuff like that, I try to help them stay in their homes by doing modifications or whatever the details they need to be able to be successful in staying in their home.
Okay, that sounds good. So a lot of it, I'm sure you provide like a financial type management programs and so forth. So
Correct.
that we, like I said, somewhat take for granted. And then a lot of times that education is not brought up front when people start to purchase a home. They start getting involved with things that they're really not sure
Correct.
why they're involved. And I think that aspect of your business is absolutely needed and will always be needed. because that's really a number one priority before you purchase any type of property or whether you're renting, is understanding what your financial aspect is and where you're at. So that's great to hear about that program. So explain to me a little bit about some of the challenges that you have faced with doing the different programs and the services that you provide for the community.
A lot of the challenges that I face is people don't want to ask for help. They have to let down their pride just a little bit to ask for help. And because you do not ask not, you have not. And a lot of people don't understand, of course, what that means, but a lot of people are falling behind because they're not asking for help. A lot of the other challenges I have is sometimes because life itself, we're faced with different challenges every day. We tend to have a lot of let someone else do it instead of we trying to understand how to do it ourselves. So we won't keep going back through this vicious cycle over and over again. So that's some of the problems I do face in the community.
Right, and that makes sense. It's that pride thing, or that fear of the unknown that people don't want to hear about, but yet still it's that consistent thing that's beating them up in the face every day. And then, like you said, it's a vicious circle that goes on from generation after generation after generation because they're only doing what they think they know is right, but at the same time they know they still need help. So it's important that I can understand that as seeing that as being an actual challenge, on top of probably a multitude of other things that go on throughout the community. People just trying to let go and realize that, hey, here's somebody here that's willing to help you. Are you really willing to learn that? So I think that's awesome that you have that piece of the program but available, but at the same time you realize that these are still things that you're focused on that need to be enhanced consistently because of those little itty bitty challenges throughout the community. But tell me a little bit more too about what other services that you provide in your business. Is there any other programs or services that you have for individuals?
Well, I offer a lot of financial services. I do budgeting. I sit down and teach classes on it. I do the 8-step program as well. I teach people about the 50, 20, 30 rule. And that's the steps of budgeting. I mean, we have a lot of programs available in our services.
Okay. And so what's the 50, 20, 30 rule? Or did I say that wrong? 50, 30, 20 rule?
You did, but I understand what you're talking about.
I'm like, wait a minute, I think I got that wrong.
Well, 50% of your income is to go toward housing. 30% is to go toward, I call fun stuff, but it's basically essentials that we need for is light, gas, telephone, and cable. And that 20% is like when you like to go out to eat, to a movie, go to the gym, the luxury thing. Mm-hmm. So I try to enforce that teaching onto everyone so they can stay within the guidelines of what they need to. And if you could stay within those guidelines, of course, you will maintain your budget and maintain to be able to save money as well. And that is the objective that I try to do with everybody outside of trying to make sure that everyone has life insurance too. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing I love about how you talk about the 20%, the 20% is really important, I think, too, because a lot of people always kind of forget that part. That that it's like it's just a given. Oh well, I know I got to have gas, or I know I got to have this. But at the same token, we never really sit back and think about the fact that when you go to the gym, that is a monthly bill, and every time you don't pay that monthly bill, guess what? You will not be able to go to the gym. So
that's right. That's right.
So I like how you had broken that down, and I asked that for a reason because I think it's just important that people understand that those pieces that we don't think that are important, they are the most important, because those little items that is where the money is constantly being taken away out of your pocket that you think, like I said, you don't really think about. And even something as simple as getting your hair done, I actually sit down and think, okay, well, when it's time for me to get my hair braided, I budget for that because I know it's not a normal bill, but I know it's something that I'm expecting for it to come up. But it's just a mindset thing, and then with you teaching people how to utilize that mindset to showing that, these are your normal bills, these are your luxuries, and this is where you need to save. And I love how you talked about insurance. It amazes me how many people will fight about not wanting to have insurance.
Oh, yes. I went through a very tragic ordeal, and ever since then, I've really pushed life insurance. Mm-hmm. Even with my business, two separate policies, one for my children and
Mm-hmm.
then one for the business. So if anything happens to me, of course, the business will be able to, live on or pay its own debt without having to touch the funds of my children. So I always tell people we find money for things that we really want to do, but come up with all kind of excuses for life necessities sometimes of things that we say, oh, I'm too young for this. We're not going to do this right now. But I always look at it this way. And this is what I was put into a situation. You never know what tomorrow will bring. What if one day you woke up and you got a phone call that said a loved one had passed away and you had to inherit children from that loved one that passed away?
Mm-hmm.
Each loved one this person have, you're guaranteed to spend about $150,000 if that child is 1 year old to it's 18 years old. So that's $150,000 of expense you will continue to occur with that one child. Let's say you have 3 of those. You multiply 150 times 3. With the parent that passed away, what life sake would those children have? Because they're forced to live off what you have only, which again, you didn't anticipate having this extra expense. But in the same token, now you have to stretch your income to fit additional kids, and Lord forbid if you have your own children as well. So I always tell people, make sure you have life insurance in place because it's important.
Right, because what a lot of people assume that when a person passes on, they just assume that everything goes away. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. Those individuals who passed on, if they don't have anything, any type of insurance, you still have to pay for their bills. You have to finalize everything. If you have property, you have to determine what's going to go on with that property. Are you going to sell it? Is it going to stay in the family? There are still a huge amount of responsibilities that have to be taken care of when a person passes on. So, it is very important to have insurance. Even something as simple as rental insurance, people take it for granted that they don't need it. But I'm glad to see a lot of facilities or apartment complexes or places today are requiring you that, when you move in here, you need to have rental insurance because the building itself is not going to insure your items with inside. So that's very important
That's
aspect.
so true.
Yeah, and it's such a great aspect that you provide that service because it amazes me just to ask that simple question. How many people will look at you with this deer in the headlight look of, what do you mean insurance? Why do I need insurance? And we all understand that, insurance is a just in case, but that just in case moment can come at any time, And
That is true.
And you've pointed out, because I know I get frustrated when I think about, I gotta have all this, I gotta have this house insurance, you gotta have that. And of course now with all of the natural disasters that go on, insurance will continue to rise. But we know we have
Correct.
to have, it's things you have to have, but but a lot of, we assume people understand, but they don't, and that's absolutely a good service that you provide as a part of your business. So if there was a woman who would want to come and talk to you today about starting a business, what advice would you give them?
If they want to come and talk to me about starting a business, I would try to make sure that they have an open mind and be ready to work, because a lot of work when it comes to having your own business. There are some days that you're going to be excited, and there's going to be some days you're going to be, nope, I want to go back to a 9 to 5 and know I have a paycheck every other week or every week. So I always try to encourage people that if you want to fulfill your dreams, be prepared for the work that comes along with it.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better myself.
And then another thing I always tell them is change your mindset and remove the lines in your imaginary line of thinking.
I lost you a little bit there.
Change your mindset and remove lines in my imaginary thinking, which spells out the word limits. Because a lot of times we limit ourselves on what our abilities are because we're afraid to just say and do certain things. So I always tell people as well.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. That's excellent advice and great information. So could you tell the listeners how they can get a hold of you?
They can go to www.la-kel.com, which is the website. They can actually email me at La'Kel Lyfe Interventions @mail.com. And they also can phone me at 404-223-9995.
All right. Awesome. Well, I do appreciate you taking this time to hang out with me for a little bit and share your story and talk about your business, which is you should definitely be patting yourself on the back every day because it's phenomenal, and I think your services are absolutely needed within and out of your community. And I guess, last is that, do you have any last words that you would like to share tonight?
Um, yes, I want to share with everyone that anyone that has any young adults age 18 and up, encourage them to take the class. I'm grown now. What it is available online as well. The actual the actual book will be in the county the beginning of 2018. So if you would like just to give your youth my telephone number, give me a call.
All right. Excellent. All right. Again, like I said, thank you for coming on tonight and sharing your story. And for me, as always, we're here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. You can go and listen and follow us on Spreaker, which is www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. You can also find us on the Women's Small Business Initiative website, which is www.wsbillc.com. Visit us as well as Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. But until then, you all enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank
Take a
you.
look, I'm